on YouTube? Maybe.
Maybe.
Last week, it was not live
Hmm.
on YouTube. And come to find out, we almost had a viewer last week on
Almost.
YouTube.
Dang.
Yeah, but it wasn't there. So we missed out on that. I mean, could have been like a banner week for us last week.
Yeah, missed opportunity right there.
Yeah, I know. So we're streaming tonight.
Let's.
We're
I'm
missing
gonna.
Dan, but hopefully he will join us at some point.
Never know.
Anyway, you never know. You got an idea, but you never know for certain. Maybe he'll watch us on YouTube. Maybe he's on YouTube right now, killing time and wasting time and not doing what he should be doing, and then he'll see us because he's a subscriber, and it'll
He'll get
remind him
the live
that he
notification.
needs to, yeah, he needs to get on.
Maybe he's finishing up his YouTube video so that he can talk about the video he just posted to YouTube.
Maybe that might be, yeah, we'll see. Um, anyway, so let's see here. This week, I
Hey, it
got my
looks like
truck
it's on
running.
there.
Yeah, it is. I got it pulled up here. So, oh man. Oh, you're not registering as a viewer yet.
Oh yeah.
But no, here I'll click out and back
I'm
in.
not really a viewer. It says one watching on mine.
Oh yeah, no, I clicked it. I clicked out of it and back in. Now it says one concurrent viewer.
I'll go ahead and give it a thumbs up while I'm there.
Oh man, awesome. Oh, got the yawns.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's late at night
I guess.
in this new time zone that we're in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 The old daylight savings, which I was talking about that a little bit with somebody today, and there's all the different reasonings why, it's better at some points to have it light earlier in the morning and better at some points to have it whatever. I don't know. I don't really follow it because I think that there's too many arguments for both sides.
Right.
uh,
I think that's what
but
Trump says.
what?
That there's too many
There's two.
arguments for both sides, so we're just not going to do anything about it.
Oh well, I really don't care. It is weird though, now getting up and getting ready, getting the kids ready for school in the dark all of a
Hmm.
sudden.
Hmm.
But like I said, I don't care. Because here's the deal. We didn't actually change the length of the day.
We didn't save
And we
any
didn't even
daylight.
change the length of the daylight. We just adjusted our clocks.
We changed the time we call it.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh weekend review, worked on my truck,
Mm.
got it running, real thankful that it started. And I'm a diesel mechanic now. I think Jimmy and I both diesel mechanics. Man, I bought that little, it's essentially an OBD2 reader, but it does more. Like you can leave it plugged in full time and it reads a whole ton of info from your vehicle's computer. And it wasn't like super cheap. Also, it was not. Hey, here's Dan. Um, I wonder if I can. Daggum. Here's a bummer thing about old Dan jumping in midstream. Dan, I'm mid complaint on you jumping in midstream, and the reason is because I can't adjust your echo cancellation on the master when we're already recording because we started without you.
So don't talk.
Can you hear me? No, actually, it hasn't been bad. I don't think.
Can you hear me?
Last, yeah, yep,
Yep.
Okay.
yep.
Without
We were
echo.
just talking. Yeah, it hasn't been echoing.
Good.
But usually I turn that on
Mhm.
if I can.
Gotcha.
We were talking about. We were just hitting. This is our segment called Week in Review, not Weekend Review. The Week in Review.
So, like, we're talking about
This
Democrats and
past week.
girls and
What?
stuff.
No, we're talking about cool stuff.
Uh, no, our week.
Oh, like a
Did your
time frame,
week?
not
Did
like
your
weak people.
week?
Okay.
y-
Gotcha.
Okay.
I
I
thought
didn't know
you
if
said
your
it
week
wasn't the
involved
week
a
in
lot of
review. It was like the
Democrats
week.
and
Gotcha. Okay.
not weekend review. Like we're not
Week
that funny, I guess.
in review.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, and I was pimping that new scanner thing that I just put on my truck
Ah,
because it's darn handy. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not pretty sure, I'm 100% sure that it does way more than I will ever utilize it for. But I was able to use the feature, the gauge that I needed in order to diagnose my issue on my truck. And that was good.
that's good.
And I posted a video about it and I gained a couple subscribers. So
Nice. Because of that
we'll
video.
see. Well, I don't know.
I mean, they got a couple subscribers on that video, or not?
I didn't look. I didn't
Oh,
look at that. I just so I mean probably. My guess would be yes. I'm guessing
okay.
that they didn't see that video and be like, I'm gonna check this guy out and look at my other videos and then subscribe while watching another one. But
Yeah.
I can't say for certain because I didn't look into it that deep.
Gotcha. What are we wearing for
Did you get
hats,
that?
guys?
Brown's Irish
Jim
Marketplace.
Brown's Irish Mike.
Jimmy's pretty standard on the Browns hat,
Yeah,
but
Last
he
few times he
he
hasn't been
kind
on
of
the
goes
Browns hat.
back and forth with the Browns hat and the Alaska hat.
true. And the ice cream hat.
Oh yeah, ice cream hat.
Speaking of Browns, if you're not already doing so, you should follow the Browns Irish Marketplace on Instagram because Carrie's trying to reach a goal of subscribers, and I don't remember what it is. It's like 8 or 10,000 or something
Oh,
before
and she's pretty close.
before St. Patrick's Day. So
Ah, that'll be my next video.
at St. Patrick's
I
Day.
bet I don't. No, just telling people to subscribe.
Oh, okay, good.
Wait,
Yeah, she.
Brown's
Um,
Irish Pub.
no, Brown's Irish Marketplace.
Let me look and see.
Dude, Brown's Irish Pub looks exactly like the same logo as Brown's Irish Marketplace.
It
Weird.
may be an old.
Look,
Oh, the Shamrock.
the Shamrock with the but theirs has KC in the Shamrock. Okay.
Yeah, it's just Brown's
Irish.
Irish Marketplace. It has,
Dude, I hope that she's gonna be able to sustain all the traffic
1887.
that we're gonna.
yeah.
Yes.
What's she trying to hit? 4,000?
She has no. It looks like maybe 7,000.
There's only
Just 600 or 6,855 currently.
56 currently.
Oh dang!
Wait, this isn't
Boom.
the right hat. I should get.
It is a hat though.
It is. It's a good hat, but
I'm going.
this one matches my
Oh yeah, there you go.
shirt. And my
Oh, that's
hat,
better.
right?
What do you got, Darcy?
I got the old Clancy Landon livestock.
Oh, good. That's a nice one.
Uh
Also known as ew.
huh.
Nice.
That's where I get my beef.
Yeah.
Yep. See Clancy Landon livestock for all of your beef needs, beef and beef accessories.
Beef and beef accessories. Accessories. Okay, I followed it.
Yep. Yep.
Good job. Thank you, Dan.
Hey, look. Looky there. One of our faithful podcast
That's
listeners.
one of our subscribers. Yeah.
One of our subscriber.
Faithful. One of our subscriber. Oh man. Yep. That is. There it is. Oh, Rory. If you're listening, well, you're not.
Where's your hat, Dan?
Yep.
Mine's Endeavor, Battle Team Endeavor. Same as
Okay.
the shirt at retreat I went to.
Nice.
Well, I hosted actually, technically.
Yeah. A few months back,
A few months back.
4 months ago or something. Anyway, so oh, daggum. Jimmy's got a new driver in the fam. And so we were talking about well, we weren't yet, but we were thinking about when we first started driving. First vehicles. Jimmy, you started saying
Yeah, mine was a 1983 Mustang, and it wasn't very nice. It was kind of a piece of junk. And
was it a 5.0?
no.
4-cylinder?
Oh yeah, 4-cylinder, 4-speed manual transmission.
Oh man.
I mean, that thing had 0 power.
Like
what year?
1983, and it was the notchback. It had a trunk, not a hatchback.
Was it just like the Mercury Sable, like the same vehicle?
It was called a Mercury. Mercury.
A Capri.
1983.
83. It was like powder blue, interior and exterior.
So it was not that body style.
Well, yeah, it was that body style, but it was
because that's a Mercury Capri.
Yeah.
It was one of those years when it was like a fastback.
No fastback. It had a trunk.
So it wasn't that trunk style?
No.
It was
they called them coupes.
Maybe I have to go to the Mustang then.
You said it was blue?
Yep, like sky blue. Had some funky alloy wheels that you couldn't find tires for.
Oh yeah.
And it did not have air conditioning, had crank down windows. It had a cassette player with the presets that you would push the button, you go.
We're talking like that?
Yep. Just like that, but nowhere near that cool.
And that ain't cool.
Oh, damn.
That ain't cool. No.
Right, there we go. There's your powder blue.
Like?
Yeah, that's what my car looked like. That was it.
Here, I just
that's the one.
Wheels?
Those look different than the ones that I had. Mine were like a 3-spoke.
Did yours look more like that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's the car, except that thing is clean.
Although there's some, I'm pointing at the screen. There's definitely some dents on the side of that one.
Oh yeah, but man,
it had those terrible wheels.
It had these like down by your feet. It had this lever that you would pull, and it would open up some exterior ventilation that come into the vents.
Oh yeah.
On the road, you could get fresh air through the vents by opening up these levers. The headliner was just like flapping everywhere until I ripped it out.
Oh man.
And like I said,
find...
zero power, man. I mean, that thing you could not pull out in front of anyone, or you were gonna die. But man, I was 15 when I got the car. I thought I was the coolest dude in the world. It broke down on me all the time, but man, I loved it. I thought I was pretty cool. But Kinsley got her her permit test today. So I'm trying to figure out what car I'm gonna learn her to drive in.
I'm trying to find. Oh, this might.
What were you?
Man, this is probably the closest representation to my first car right here. All right, I'm gonna go share screen. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Oh, dude.
Was it on jacks too?
That's pretty close. It did not run when I bought it. It was that one actually has a lot less rust than mine had.
Oh, nice.
It was.
What is that?
But it's a 1981 Pontiac Phoenix.
Nice.
Same as the Chevy Citation.
Great little car.
Oh, yeah, a beaut.
I don't know how to screen share mine. Mine was here. Find a.
Oh yeah, yours was a
92 Saturn SL2.
Dang, 92.
Yeah,
92.
And that was what, like 1998?
Yeah, probably 90.
Dan was a high roller.
No kidding. That's like brand new car.
Sarah hated it. She still doesn't like. When she dreams, it's mostly nightmares, and it's nightmares about marrying somebody who drove a Saturn SL2. And then she wakes up and she's like, I can't believe this.
Her nightmares came true.
Wasn't it silver?
It was like the dark silver color.
Okay, not that.
Did it have any issues, Dan? Like any electronic issues or anything?
Mine was perfect. The timing belt started to go out, and I sold it to my brother for like $500 because I left for college, and I got a truck, and I was like, I'll give it to you for $500, but you have got to spend the $1,000 and get the timing belt put in it.
And he didn't.
He just drove it, and it broke down on him. It was done.
Some of those zero clearance motors.
I guess, yeah, like what happens if the timing belt breaks, it smashes the sparks against the heads or something like that. Like
the valves.
I don't even understand why you would build it that way.
High tolerance.
Here it is. Here's Dan's car.
My Tundi has 370,000 miles and never had the timing.
Oh yeah. Dang.
Only mine had caps, hubcaps, not wheels, mag wheels.
That's slick, dude.
She hated it.
I mean, there's not really many cars that are uglier than that.
I actually liked it. I really did. I genuinely had no issue with it at all. It had 5 seats. It had a decent sized trunk. And it wasn't
you couldn't dent the sides.
It was polymer.
They're plastic.
Yeah.
What?
You could take a hammer and dink the door and it would not dent it. You could crack them.
Right.
Do you remember how much you paid for your first cars?
$3,200.
Dang.
$275.
$500 for me.
Oh.
Mine was supposed to be $300, but before I went to pick it up, the guy called and he was like, well, the water pump went out. That thing's $24 down at O'Reilly, so I'll give it to you for $275 instead of
Oh,
$300.
man.
And I
And
was
you went ahead
like,
and did it?
what? Well, it was my dad's friend's brother-in-law. So my dad was kind of making the deal for me.
Classic.
And we drove out there and I was like, 275? You're giving me the cost of the part off because it doesn't run. He's like, well, you could find something else. And I was like,
Dang.
He's like, we're talking a $300 car here, man.
That doesn't
So I
run.
bought it. Yeah. So I bought it, trailered it home, put a water pump on it, and drove it for some years. That
Nice.
car, my car is generally just like kind of handed down to my sister. Like, I don't think I ever got any money for any of them. That one went to my sister until, man, I don't even know what happened to it. I know she backed into it with another car at some point. I think the farmer that we rented a farmhouse, and I think he backed into it with a grain truck one time after I was done driving it. And then it just sat in the driveway. So I went from that car to a, it might have been a 92 Chevy Nova. Remember that?
Nope.
It was the same as the Toyota Tercel, I think.
Oh.
Or the Geo
Metro.
Geo Prism. Here, I'll find
You remember
it.
the Geo Prism.
92 Chevy Nova. It's like the worst thing they could do to the Chevy Nova name is put it on this car.
In the 80s and 90s, they did terrible things to good car names. And they're starting to do it again now. There's like a Mustang Mach-E that looks like the modern car your grandma wouldn't even drive.
Right. It's
They're
so
bad. Like, why don't you just come up? You could come up with like a million names for it.
Maybe it wasn't a 92.
You make it a Mustang.
Maybe it was a
Ford Maverick that they have now doesn't resemble a Maverick at all.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. It's like, why did you pick the Maverick name to put on?
It's the dumbest thing.
What kind of sense does that make?
It's stupid.
Well, there's people that we're going to sell 9 of them. Oh, yeah? Yep. Because we're pretty sure there's 9 Maverick collectors out there that'll buy whatever we put the name Maverick on.
That's a Lumina. What in the world? Where
Jimmy's drinking straight vodka out of a glass tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Wow.
I got to get something in me to get me going.
I think this one says it's a...
There we go.
I think this one says it's a
how'd
94.
You do that? What do you have in your teeth?
What do you mean?
All right,
It's
here's
just,
my
trying to whiten them or something?
What?
You trying to whiten your teeth?
No. What do you mean? That's our new style. Darcy, you can do the same, right? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. That's my second car.
That's a good looking car.
Oh yeah. Why aren't you?
Yeah, that car. Do you remember that car?
I don't remember that one. No, I never rode in that one, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I don't think we
You had like a cream color car whenever I first kind of started running across you.
Okay, I'll find that one next.
I feel like
I went backwards in age, but way up in style on the next car after that. So
the
yeah,
cream
so
one,
the
didn't you
Chevy,
have
so
to like sawzall parts off of it to get some
the
repairs done or something?
sort of, yeah. We can go into that. Okay, so hold up. All right, so I had that Pontiac. That was my first car.
Hmm.
Then I bought the little Chevy Nova because some people from our church were selling it, and I was going to be headed to college, and my mom wasn't comfortable with me taking that cruddy Pontiac and driving it out to West Virginia. So I bought a new car, new to me. And that thing, so that Nova, I think it was a 92 and I bought it in 98. So that was not terribly old. Uh, so I drove that thing, and then my sister just kind of took over the Pontiac and drove it. It would just became hers. And then I drove that Nova out to West Virginia, and then when I got out there was some people that went to our church. Let me see here. 1987. Uh, Royal. They had they had an Oldsmobile, a 1987 Delta 88 Royal Brougham,
What?
if that's how you pronounce that word. And it was like I think it was like this, except it had a vinyl top. It was cream with like a maroon vinyl top. Where is that thing? Well, anyway, it was basically this. And so I bought this thing. So they were getting ready to move to like Spain or something like that and needed to offload this car.
Oh yeah,
It was like that, except it had a vinyl top.
that's slick,
Um, and dude, that thing was plush. The interior of that was red velvet. The seats were so freaking comfy.
man. Yeah.
And so I bought that thing for $1 because they just needed to get rid of it before they moved. And they were leaving like the next, like that week. So I gave them $1 for it. And
Did you actually?
yeah, actually, I think I gave him $5. I don't think I had a $1 bill. Yeah. So that was my third car. And then when I started driving that, I guess I don't know. I don't know how I got my blue car home, the Nova. I I wonder. I don't know how I got. Yeah, I don't know how I got the Nova home, but I did. And um, then my sister took over the Nova. and she drove that thing until one day she called my dad, and she was like, Dad, she's just at some random farmhouse out in the country. She walked there and asked to borrow the phone. And she's like, my car won't really go. He's like, what do you mean it won't go? She's like, well, when I was driving down the road, I could barely go 20 miles an hour. Like up hills, I was going like 7 miles an hour. It just won't go. I can push the pedal all the way to the floor and it just won't go. And so he was like, okay. So he borrowed a car dolly or something like that and went out there and dragged it home. And he pulled the dipstick and it was just like a glob of sludge sticking on the end of it.
Oops.
And apparently no one had ever checked the oil or changed the oil after I stopped driving it. And she just drove it until the engine quit. So then it sat in the yard along with that old Pontiac. And then I had that Oldsmobile. And I drove that Oldsmobile back and forth from West Virginia a few times. And on the last trip, I was coming home and I stopped in Kansas City. That's probably about, it's probably like 15 hours into the trip, because it wasn't that long of a trip, except I'm pretty sure I dropped Anna off at her house and then came north instead of coming straight home to Kansas City. So a big like 3-hour detour. So I'm pretty sure I dropped her off and then came north, and I was coming through Kansas City around supper time. And I had a couple buddies that were like, well, let's get dinner. So I stopped at, Dan, you remember when Country Kitchen was right there at 58 and 71?
Kind of, yeah.
There in Belton. We stopped there and had dinner. And
close to where Texas Roadhouse is now?
Yes. When I went back out there to start my car to leave and go home, it wouldn't start. Oops. And I was like, uh-oh, this ain't good. Like, still 2 hours from home with a carload of stuff from college, and it wouldn't start. And so my buddy, he was like, well, do you have any oil in it? And I was like, I mean, I haven't been checking the oil during the trip, but apparently it was burning oil. And when I got to Kansas City, it was low enough that it wouldn't start again. And so we ran over and bought, some quarts of oil and dumped in there, and it fired up, and I drove it home. And then I just left it parked in the driveway there with the rest of the cars. And then
oh man.
So that's three of my cars sitting at my parents' house. Oh no, my dad sold that Nova. He sold the Nova to somebody. And there was still just 2 of them. So then that was the year I stayed home from college, right before we got married. So I just drove my parents' vehicles for a while, and then I bought a Dodge Neon. That was a good little car.
I had one of those.
And then my dad ended up just giving away those other 2 cars, the Oldsmobile and the Pontiac. Had a guy come haul them off and scrap them.
After that Mustang, I had a 1991 Ford Escort, and it had the the seatbelts that you'd sit down and shut the door, and it'd be like. Meh.
Oh yeah, Dan's car did that, I think.
And then you had to grab the lap.
I think Dan would unhook it, so he could get some seatbelt in violations.
Yes, I have been given seatbelt violations for unhooking the shoulder thing. Yes, that's true.
Didn't that Saturn have the automatic seat belts?
Yeah, it did. It wasn't the one that was attached to the actual door, which is good. But can you hear me? I can't tell.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm upstairs making some ice cream.
Making ice cream?
Yeah.
Man.
Well, making ice cream is kind of a relative thing. We have this Ninja Creamy, and we make.
Oh yeah, I've had it.
I do recall eating some of it from Darcy's kitchen.
It isn't bad. I think it's good. Oh, are we going with that? Jimmy,
it's pretty fancy.
These are the Coolio of flashlights, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you pay? $100? Are they about $100, Darcy?
I think that's what they're. I don't know. Anna bought this one. She got it on sale. She said she was about to buy it one day and then didn't, and then was real glad because the next day she looked and it was like 30% off or something. Olight Arkfeld Pro.
Arkfeld Pro, yeah. So you have a regular old flashlight with 4 settings. Did you know it has 4, Darcy?
Mm-hmm.
If you go from 0 and you hold it a long time, it'll turn a super low.
It's $84 right now.
Nice.
Right?
Did you know that you can have the laser on and the light at the same time?
Yep. Well, you can't see it on there, but
yeah.
How many lumens is that thing? There it is, 1300.
Okay, so mine, I can't. There's 2 different ones, I think, aren't there?
Well, the
Arkfeld and the Arkfeld Pro. So yeah,
the probably.
Pro. The Pro is 1300 lumens.
So it would not be like a tactical light brightness, but like here's the thing about that
it's super pretty like darn bright.
I super like that if it's real dark, you can turn it on to the second setting, and if you're in the pitch black, the second one, which runs for hours, is perfectly good as a headlamp.
Oh yeah, I did that the other day.
If it's light, I own a much brighter one that's a cylinder that's from Milwaukee. Not much brighter, brighter. That has a magnet back on it also. But it's magnetized to something somewhere, and I don't have it anymore.
Oh no.
Bummer.
My other second, third, fourth, fifth favorite thing about these is the magnetic charger. Is the same charger.
It's so handy.
It's the same charger as my weapon light. So I only have to have one hooked up, and I can just, anytime I want to charge my weapon light. I know you guys don't believe in that, but I have a weapon light.
So. Yeah. And man, I mean, I've carried a flashlight in my pocket for quite a few years. This is my pocket flashlight in the past. It's the Pelican 1920, I think is the Pelican. Jimmy, you've got that. It is a nice, durable it has multiple brightnesses. 2 AAAs. It's a nice little light. It's low profile. This thing's bigger, obviously, but it's still, I mean, it's pretty thin. It sits in your pocket real nice. It's deep carry. But battery life on this thing compared to those two AAAs is ridiculous. I mean, I haven't charged this thing in months. I think I've really only charged it once, and I got it for Christmas. And I mean, it's showing 4 full bars still.
You must not use it on the brightest, because the brightest is only like 15 minutes of time.
I don't use it on the brightest. Okay. I mean, I'll turn the brightest on if I go, like, if I were to go out in the yard right now, if I heard a commotion or something, or I went to if I had a chicken out or something like that, or if I was thinking there was maybe something in the trap, I would turn on the brightest because it'll light up eyes farther away, like critter eyes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just going to be for a few seconds here and there. Otherwise, I always use it on like one of the lower settings. But I haven't like increased or decreased my flashlight usage. And that Pelican light, I had to change batteries at least every month.
I used to have a Surefire light that I could put on to like a mount. It was like the right size for a mount for a gun.
Sure.
Dude, those freaking batteries, for 2 of the batteries for a Surefire were like $12.
The CR123s, yeah.
And they only had like maybe 30 minutes of runtime total. And it seemed like, and they were only super bright. That's the other thing, that there was no like lightweight setting. Dude,
yeah,
they were
I think
like, I went through so many of them.
I
started to wonder if it didn't have like 10 minutes of runtime.
I'm pretty sure I still have one of those somewhere in one of my backpacks. But I think you had yours earlier than I had mine, and I think by the time I bought mine, it had multiple brightness settings.
Yeah, mine didn't.
It had a dim. Yeah.
Here's the other light that I kind of like. It's only $10.
Coast.
Let's see if it'll go. Coast.
Yeah, it's darn good light for the money.
For $10, that's a nice. It's a super sturdy light, but its setting is one setting, and it's probably slightly brighter than the lowest setting on this Olight. But it's handy, and I've never replaced the batteries on it so far. So I'm gonna go run my ice cream. So I'm gonna go silent for a minute, and then I'm gonna bring down a find that I bought a thing.
Okay. All right. What was your car after the Escort? You had a couple Escorts, didn't you?
I had 2 Escorts. They were both 91.
In the same car. 2 in a row, or 2 at the same time?
At the same time, because one of them ran and one of them didn't. So I bought one as kind of like a parts car, but then I got both of them running. So I had 2 of them at the same time. One of them I had to swap the engine. So I got a junkyard engine, put it in there, got it going, but I messed up the ignition somehow. So I couldn't use the key. So when you put the key in and turn it, nothing would happen. So I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. So I ended up just putting a button in there. So you still had to turn the ignition on and then push the button to start it, which was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And so I had
basically it was a race car.
It was. So I had one of them was not very good condition, so I called it the PO Escort. And then the other one with the push button start, we called the Race Court.
Nice.
And then after that, I had a pretty nice 1990 GT Mustang. It was in really good shape. I was kind of looking for one, and my dad, I don't know, somebody at his work had one for sale that he found out about. And so he and I went and looked at it, and I bought it from this old dude. And it was in perfect condition. It was black with gray interior, 5-speed, 5.0. Drove that for a few years. That was a fun car.
Don't you wish you still had that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. And Jeremy had one too. So both of us had Fox Body GT Mustangs at the exact same time. And that was a lot of fun cruising around together. His was a 1988 GT with T-tops, which is super rare in the Mustang world. And that was pretty cool. We'd pull them tops off and go cruising around. Man.
Heck yeah.
That was fun.
I had a car with T-tops for a little while. But I never had it street legal. I just jacked around with it and would get it. I'd tinker with it, get it running, and just kind of drive it around. I had it when I was in West Virginia in college. So for the most part, I'd just drive it around on campus. And every once in a while, I'd take it out on the street and like drive down some back roads and stuff. But it had T-tops. That was pretty fun. It was a 1980s. I think it was an 87 300ZX. Nissan 300ZX. It was cool. Except it was a piece of junk.
Right.
I bought it for $50. I had a Jeep Cherokee when I was in West Virginia too. That's probably the only vehicle that I have had and no longer have that I think, man, kind of wish I had not gotten rid of that.
Yeah.
But it was a cool little truck. Someday I'll find a picture of it. Show you. It was like it was bright yellow, and I just spray painted some racing stripes on just big, thick black.
That's pretty great.
Stripes down the hood. Yep, it was pretty great. I'm pretty sure I used like that spray bed liner. No, I think maybe it was probably just regular old black paint. Yep, that was a good one. Dan went from the Saturn straight to a pretty nice S10. Just two-wheel drive, regular cab.
He just had nice cars, huh?
Yeah. What year was that S10, Dan?
The S10 was like a 98, 96, 98, somewhere in there. Well, okay, I was going to say this because this, I think, is a pertinent thing for the conversation about vehicles. You had multiple vehicles under 10 years old that already were absolute garbage.
Yes.
Okay. When I started buying vehicles, there was kind of like there was a struggle going on between my mother and my father's opinion.
Here's one of the things. This happened. This is going to tie in, and I don't want to distract from the thought. But last weekend I was down Bolivar Way and met
Mm-hmm.
up with a child of yours, and
Mm-hmm.
she was driving a vehicle that I said to her, I said, "Man, that's kind of a Rob Mock vehicle you're driving right there."
He had one.
I know. I know. And the hood latches, but it doesn't look latched.
Yeah,
And there's a
because it's
little
been
rust.
smashed.
Yep, there's a
Yep.
little rust, and the gas gauge doesn't work. So
Yep.
what I'm getting at is your vehicle choices or whatever were vastly different from your father's
Correct. Even though I
from the
didn't ever
get-go.
get into like, I've never been into like expensive, nice vehicles. But
No.
um, so the like struggle was, my mom was like, you don't want to have to work on a vehicle unless that's what you do for a living. So get something that's under 10 years old so that you can drive it for a while before it is a piece of crap. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was always looking for something in the like 5 to 6 year old range. Like that was just like one of my first criteria was 5 or 6 years old. And in those days, think about this. When I went to buy my Tundra in 2004, I was
You're in
looking at
your first one,
my first, like what would be my newest vehicle. Um,
which was a 98, right?
no, it was a 2002. It was 2 years old.
Oh.
But I was looking at brand new Chevy 1500 WT white trash, right? And they were booking at 13.9. Okay? That was off the lot. 13.9. But when I went to the lot, I was like, that's what I want. I want the V6. I want the 8-foot bed. I want the single cab. I don't want like nothing extra. And the guy looked it up and he's like, to be perfectly honest with you, the chances of you getting that base model vehicle, finding it in the whole country is basically zero. And I'm like, why? He's like, because those are fleet vehicles. They sell them by the tens and by the hundreds to HVAC companies and delivery places and this and that. And, you've got to put in an order for like 10 of those suckers to get the very base model. So it real quickly went from like 13.9 to 19, 18 or 19 for the like next one up.
The
And
available one.
right, the one that's actually available. And so, but now I don't even hesitate. My whole point, skipping everything else that's in my head, I don't hesitate to look at a 10-year-old vehicle now. They're that much better now
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
than they were then. Now it's like a 10-year-old vehicle, maybe you'll actually get a decent deal on it. A 5-year-old vehicle, I mean, they want more for a 5-year-old vehicle sometimes than a brand new off the lot vehicle. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't even understand. Like, because everybody else besides me wants, like, I was talking to a drywaller the other day, and he's like, I mean, you don't want that base model vehicle. You want the leather seats, heated seats, and this and that and the other. And I'm like, no, I don't. I am going to get my sweaty butt in that truck every day
Right.
for 20 years. I don't want anything extra. Like,
Yeah.
I still don't want anything extra. Am I like for my work truck,
Right.
Right.
Like I don't even have cruise control on mine right now because
Nice.
the knob is
Because
sitting here somewhere and I haven't put it on. And every time I go to push the button, I'm like, oh, why don't you just replace that, Dan? And I have it sitting here.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Is that the purchase
yeah,
that
man.
you were talking about?
Do what?
Is that the purchase you were talking about?
Oh, shoot. I got distracted
Left
with
it
my ice cream.
upstairs,
I'll be
didn't you?
back. I did.
Yeah, man. So my first car, when I bought it, if it was an 81, it would have been probably in 1995. So it was 14 years old. And then my next car that I would have bought in 1998, it was, I wish I could remember what year that Nova was. Maybe it was, I, I really thought it was a 92. So it might have been only 6 years old. Maybe it was a 90, 91. So yeah, so it was less than 10 years old, my second car. And then I went backwards. So then I went in 1999 or 2000, I got that 87 Oldsmobile. So that was almost 15 years old. And then when I bought that Neon, I was like, that was in 2000, and I bought in 1998. It had 20,000 miles on it. It was like the nicest, newest, lowest mile car that anyone in my immediate family had ever owned.
Nice.
And it was a Dodge Neon. No offense.
It was a Dodge Neon, yeah. It was a nice one, though.
Yeah, but okay. You bought it with a salvage tag.
I bought it.
Rebuilt.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
From the same place that I got my transmission for my S10 when it went out.
Oh, from Lonnie?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
because
that was like,
he had connections to like Art and
Art
Scott
Stair.
and stuff, right? Yeah, they were related somehow.
And actually, you know what? Art Stair bought me that transmission for as a wedding present.
Nice.
Like a late wedding present. I think he was somehow related to that dude, right?
Yeah, so okay. Lonnie, dadgum, I lost his last name. Oh my
Wasn't
goodness.
he Dustin's brother or something?
Brother-in-law. So Lonnie, the guy that built my car, was married to Melanie's sister. So Dustin and Melanie had married sisters, and I think both those guys or both those girls were Art's daughters.
Dustin
right?
and Melanie had married sisters. That doesn't make sense.
Dustin and Lonnie.
Oh, okay. Had married sisters, Melanie and her sister.
Yeah, I don't remember what her sister's name was.
I never knew.
Which that's Art is their dad, right? Art is Melanie's dad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Art is Dustin's father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is his son-in-law's business.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, why can't I remember that guy's last name?
You haven't thought of it in 20 years, maybe?
Well, I see his little brother on Facebook fairly often. Can't remember his name either. Oh well, no matter. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I bought that car from him. My parents bought a salvage car from him. My brothers bought, I think, 2 cars from him. Yep.
All right, you ready for show and tell?
Yep.
Okay.
Darcy's into camping, so he can tell me good deal or no good deal.
Oh,
All
man.
right. Okay.
Oh, it looks like a jet boil stove.
It looks like a jet boil stove. It acts like a jet boil stove. Like, is there any part of this that doesn't look like a jet boil? This is the base, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it is massive, dude. It's a liter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I didn't realize it was this big, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So,
Okay.
couple things. One, you can have this thing going full bore. You can grab it right here, and this absorbs so much of the heat into the actual pot that you can literally hold the pot like this.
With that neoprene sleeve.
With the neoprene sleeve, and the gases coming out of the side aren't burning your hand. It is warming your hand, but it's not burning your hand, okay? The only complaint I have is that I feel like it has a lot of chemically kind of smell as it's heating up your water. Okay. What's a jet boil cost for a regular size?
It's been a long time since I've looked at them, but they were never cheap. I mean, they were always like one of the more expensive ones on the market for that stuff.
And here's the other kind of cool thing. So it has your, like deal there. It also has an igniter.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to light it like you do your other stoves. Plus, you can use the stove, like if you wanted to, I suppose if you wanted to heat something up over it or whatever. That sucker was, now I have to remember. This dude was $29.
What?
Nice.
Yeah.
Where?
It was the only one they had
Aldi.
at Sierra Trading Post.
Oh.
I can't even find it, Northeast Outdoors.
Does that lid have a sippy cup on it?
Yeah, it has, like, if you're boiling your noodles, you can snap that on, and then you can pour your water off after you've boiled your noodles.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the jet boils, and they're like 75 to.
Does Jetboil make a 1 liter? I mean, like, I don't know if the perspective makes sense here, but like, that's big for a Jetboil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this might be a big one.
It goes all the way to my elbow.
It goes all the way to my elbow, bro. Like crazy.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what size that one is right there.
I think of a Jetboil as being like a quart, or no, like a.
Yeah, they make a bigger one though.
They do. I think this is a Jetboil, like
rebranded.
I think it's just a Jetboil rebranded. It says that it was originally.
Show me the base of that thing again.
Oh,
around the bottom of the pot. Yeah.
It has the little coils that absorb the heat.
Yep.
It says absolutely do not use this thing dry. Like, it is for boiling water. Like, period.
All right.
But here's the thing.
That stove. Here's that stove. It's another brand of it on Amazon for $50. This
for
one, the brand
for the liter,
is called Fire Maple.
Same design as this one. with the
it looks exactly the same.
Fire Maple. $59. So I mean, maybe half price, $30.
Mm-hmm. But also half price. Also half price of a jet boil.
Like that. This says compared to 90.
Or
I think they're comparing it
quarter of the price.
At a jet boil price.
They're comparing it to the jet boil price. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw it and I was like, man, you know, those things, like when you're out there and you only have that much fuel, you know, it makes a ton of sense to carry something that will turn all of your fuel into heated water versus, you know, versus like a regular
losing
pot.
All that.
Like my regular one, I like it, but it's losing a lot. I guarantee it. So
that's pretty cool.
I thought it was kind of cool. And I can actually, I'm packaging it back up and seeing if I can hold two. I can almost hold two fuels, a big fuel and a little fuel in it. But I can't, unfortunately, hold this separate from a, well, actually you can. I don't know. I thought it was kind of neat.
Heck yeah. It looks like it might be like a house brand type of thing.
For Aria or for Sierra.
Sierra.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, here it is on their website right now.
How much they running
on clearance? They got it on clearance for $39.
For $39.
Well,
there you go. So I even got a decent deal off of clearance. You got a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, for
currently sold out.
Well, I bought the last one for $29.
Yeah, you did.
Good job, Dave.
The one thing about like most of the type of camping we do is it's rarely just me out there by myself. My cooking or boiling or whatever is almost always for like 3 to 6 people. And so it doesn't make like a whole lot of sense to have all of my gear tuned specifically for backpacking.
Right.
Because I don't know. I thought it was a good deal. I thought it was worth a shot.
Except for what you need to start tuning for is your catch and cook videos.
That's true. Dude,
and some of those kind of need to be on the bank of the river.
I've got a really cool stove. I shot a catch and cook video with my it's a packable. Well, I showed it to you guys. It's a packable.
Oh yeah,
that flat one.
Yeah.
That you put twigs in and stuff.
Here's the problem: we didn't catch anything because it was 6 inches of ice, and we didn't catch anything ice fishing. But we were totally gonna cook it if we did catch a fish.
If you caught something.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Better luck next time. Did you not go fishing like last Saturday or Sunday?
No, the boys did. I didn't. They also didn't catch anything last Sunday.
No.
They're really not having good luck.
You probably would have.
I probably would have, yes, that's true. But I did not.
And then you could have made a video, but you didn't. Just like Jimmy.
Oh, wait, Jimmy didn't make a video yet?
No.
Jimmy.
I know.
I don't even know what to think of that.
Now it's kind of out of principle, just because he feels bad if he makes one, you won't be able to have this
you won't be able to maintain this persona if he actually shoots a video.
That's right.
Well,
you need to stop over at my house, and we'll make a video together telling people to go down to Brown's.
A collaboration?
Or to not go to Brown's, but to subscribe.
Oh, to the Insta.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't have any Browns wear.
I haven't made it into a video yet, Jimmy. Darcy's already seen this situation. Why don't I play this for you? And you tell me what you think of it, Jimmy.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get the volume.
Oh, weird. Wait, what I'm looking at. Gotta check this out. I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. But I'm just driving by and...
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. That's goats. That's 5 goats. Looks like one of them was pregnant. Poor guys. Tracks. Feel like if that was your own property, you probably wouldn't dump the goats right there by the road, because it's going to attract a lot of coyotes and all kinds of stuff. So kind of weird and annoying. At least I'd be a little annoyed if it was my property. Let me know what you think. Why do you think that happened?
What do you think, Jimmy?
I think somebody killed their goats and dumped them.
They didn't have bullet holes in them or anything.
You don't have to have bullet holes to kill a goat.
Okay, tell me what happened. How did they execute 5 goats without bullets?
Poison, I don't know.
Purposeful poison or accidental poison?
Could be either or.
Why'd they dump them there?
Where was it?
I mean, other than it's just right on the side of the road.
Is that out by your home?
Is out by between Jowdon and Stillwell.
Just on the side of the road.
Just on the side of the road, like 30 feet off the road. I thought it was a cow laying there when I drove by.
That's what I thought when I first saw the video.
And that's a weird place for a cow. And I backed up and I was like, oh, that's a goat. That's freaking 5 goats.
Yeah, that's
one of them.
Strange.
One of them was definitely prolapsed, like isn't that where the like uterus kind of like comes out with the kid?
The intestines, yeah.
And then
it can be
there was another one that was for sure preggers. So that was actually probably like 8 to 10 goats.
8.
What is your theory?
I looked at the picture and I said poison. I think they ate something that they shouldn't have eaten, because if you look at their rear ends, their tails and their fur and all is all real nasty looking around their butt. It's all like yellowy brown. And then that one prolapse, I think they just ate something they shouldn't have eaten and crapped themselves to death.
And then guy that owned them was like, "Oh, I got to get these things out of here," and just drove out into the
country and dumped them.
Drove to somewhere else in the country, because if you have 5 goats, you probably have more than 5 goats.
True.
I mean, you got a Billy somewhere in a different pen that didn't get poisoned. Those were all female.
All female?
They were all female, but the 2 small ones were either midgety or I'll look at the picture again. The 2 smaller ones were Yeah, dude, I think that multiple of those were prolapsed, or like you're saying, like crapping themselves to death. One of them's a boar goat, not a boar as in a male or a hog. One of them's a boar goat. There's a couple of Kikos. And then there's two that might be really young Kikos. I don't know.
They look dead to me.
They dead.
You stop and get that head on your way home?
No, I did not.
You're not going to, are you?
I don't know that I'm going to.
What is it?
It's
just
well, like
one
this
of them has
one.
horns.
This one
And I
has
was like,
some
dude, you need to get that head.
Oh, wow.
really cool horns.
Yeah.
Well, you get me that that axe, and
That chopper knife?
that chopper knife, because I'm not doing that with my box knife.
Get a machete and just a couple good swings.
That's what I was telling him. I've got a head chopper offer knife that lives in my truck 100% of the time.
This guy James that used to hunt with my dad, you know, they've got these like pre-sharpened, skinning knives and hook blade knives and all this. He would go out there with a box knife and a hook blade like a hook blade box knife and a regular box knife. And my dad was like, man, it actually works pretty darn good using a hook blade box knife, like a roofing, not a roofing one, but like a
carpet,
like a carpet knife.
Yeah, like a carpet cutting box knife. And I've never done it. I did gut that one with the CKRT minimalist.
Minimalist? Yep.
Yeah. Tiny little guy.
Dude, you know what? I wonder, I bet you could market if you could get it produced, which I'm pretty sure you could get blades, because I've never seen this, that are a hook on one side and the straight blade on the other for those utility knives.
Probably. Yeah.
That'd be
like on one side, just flip it around to be a hook
yes.
on the other end. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could get them produced.
Yeah, but have you ever seen it?
No. When we would roof houses, my dad would buy a pack of 5 hook blades, and he would do 5 houses if he could do it, if he could pull it off. He would try to do 5 houses with 5, because you'd have 10 hook blades. And yeah, what would be? I'll tell you what would be cool, Darcy, if you want to try and figure this out, would be to design a hook blade knife, or not a hook blade, a straight blade that utilizes about that much
more
of the blade. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be kind of a cool knife set.
Somebody has one.
Do you think so?
I've seen it. Yeah, I forget what brand it is though.
I've still got this old dude, Jimmy.
Oh
you
yeah.
Have any of those laying around?
I have a couple. Yes.
What's that from?
It's a super knife.
I carried one in my pocket today.
This particular one is this one.
You gotta go back away, back off a little bit. I can't see it.
Well.
BJ?
Yep.
Dude, for a while, I think you were the first one to buy this specific utility knife. And as these things go, it's one of the best ones as this style of knife. Like the lock on it is pretty darn good. The action is good. The pocket clip is good. And it's super knife brand. And Jimmy bought one, and then he gave me one. And whenever I looked at it, I was like, BJ, it's the BJ knife. What's up with that? So then it was always fun to, like, when you went into a store and they had this brand, to look and see if you could find any of those that had that on there.
What's the brand?
Super
knife.
What's the BJ? I mean,
well,
I don't know.
I know what you think it is. But
it must be whatever that camo is. It's some type of a
BJ camo.
Some type of a grassland camo or something. You looking up BJ camo?
yeah. Camo HQ. Bill Jordan.
Bill Jordan. That's unfortunate.
I wonder if it's Bill Jordan. Yeah, Bill Jordan.
In 1986, Jordan decided to design his own camouflage patterns.
Real tree. Bill Jordan.
Yeah, but this
There you go.
I mean, this has grass and stuff in it. Yep.
There you go. BJ camo. I feel like I made a guy feel bad the other day. He pulls out one of these guys, these Milwaukee knives, because they're kind of a solid, pretty solid. And when they're all the way out, it feels like a full-size knife. A lot of them don't feel full size. He was showing it to me. Oh man, he's like, you're never gonna find a better knife than this Milwaukee right here. He's like, man, these are awesome. Like you, and he's telling me all about it. And I'm like, oh yeah? Well, that's nothing. Look at this. And he's like, what? I'm like, yep. Socket, flat, Phillips. Oh, he's like, where'd you get that? I'm like, probably the same place you got that one.
Probably the same price.
He was showing me one without this. It's the same exact knife. It just doesn't have this.
Exact same thing. It just doesn't have the screwdriver.
And I'm like, dude, this knife, like, if you're talking like minimalist multi-tool, this sucker right here is where it's at. It has the socket. It has the Phillips. It has the flat. It has
pretty handy.
Your knife, and it has a bottle opener.
Nice. Everything you need.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Working time and after working time.
And then this, which I've never figured out. What is, like...
It's your seatbelt cutter.
Is that what it is?
Strap cutter. Uh-huh.
All right, there you go. Strap cutter.
And so you can double your blade up before you flip it to the other side.
Yeah. That seems dangerous. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Do I move around a lot, guys?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can't tell. Your camera follows you around, so you're always center frame.
Your camera did not like when you were looking down, though.
Oh man. Well.
Ah, well.
You know what?
What?
It's
It's after
getting
11.
closer and closer to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So
always
we'll
is.
probably wind this down.
So here's a question real quick. Do I put that
Okay.
one, do I put that video on the YouTube? Is that going to get me banned from YouTube? Can you think of any
it
reason?
won't get you banned.
Okay.
No.
You didn't show anybody killing anybody.
I just showed dead goats. It's not going to do anything.
Nah.
All right. So I'm going to post that, and I'm going to post 2 more videos before next week. I'm going to post a drywall video, and I'm going to post a, they're not going to be exciting, flooring video. Or maybe a flooring and a cabinetry video. What are you doing? So that's going to be 3. That's my commitment.
Okay.
I'm going to have 105 subscribers, which is 2 more than I have now by next week.
Nice.
That's good.
I was sitting out in my yard tonight before we started this, trying to video one because I saw my first bat of the season flitting around, and I was going to try to catch it on video, but once it flew by and I walked out there with my camera, it didn't come back. So I meant to do that tonight, but I didn't get a chance to.
I was driving to a job yesterday, and there was a big old giant eagle just standing out in the field, just off, like, I don't know, maybe 50 feet off of the road. I wanted to stop and get a video of that, but it was kind of a busy road, so I kept going.
There's a bald eagle nest in a tree right by where I'm working, and I can see them from in the distance. I can see them when they're in there and their heads are up.
That's cool.
And I've seen them flying around there. And the other day I said to James, "Hey, there's a bald eagle flying by right there." And he looked out, he stepped out, and he was like, "I've never seen a bald eagle in real life before."
What?
And I was like, "You haven't?" He's like, "No." "Are you sure it's a bald eagle?" I'm like, "I'm 100% sure it's a bald eagle." Okay, not to belabor this podcast anymore, but do you find that there are a lot more people who are like going through life not seeing what they see than you would think? Does that make sense?
Oblivious?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
There are probably
people are oblivious.
Thousands of bald eagles that fly over Kansas City every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you live in Kansas City, you probably, if you looked around, would see 100 a year, I would think. If you were paying attention and knew what you were looking at.
Without trying super hard.
I would say I probably see a bald eagle every week.
I mean, this guy can almost see a nest from his house. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't have that.
I mean, but
I was sitting in our church parking lot on Sunday evening, and I looked up and I was like, "Huh, that's a bald eagle." And I said, "Hey, look, guys, that's a bald eagle." And it was a long ways out there. And someone else said, "Are you sure that's a bald eagle? That looks like a vulture to me." And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was certain. I was sure it was a bald eagle.
Vultures have the like fingery, like
Correct.
on the ends of they have like these big voids in their feathers.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And also
they also so an eagle's wings when they're soaring are flat out.
Straight.
A vulture's wings,
they kind of have that
up.
Yeah, like that.
V up.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, like if you're just looking at a profile, like if you can't really see the bird, but you can see that there's a bird, but you're just seeing the black. An eagle is like this, and a vulture is like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, what you said, vultures have their feathers at the tips of their wings are spread, and eagle tips of their wings are not.
Yeah. And also,
And
the
they
other thing that
flap
you'll see,
so much different. Like
you'll see,
their flight is so much different when they're flapping their wings.
well, you also will see adolescent bald eagles around that are like
Oh, absolutely.
almost entirely dark like a vulture, but with speckled white, random white feathers on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah.
And just because it's not white, a white head doesn't mean it's not a bald eagle. But
Yeah,
like,
I mean, go check out my YouTube, like and subscribe. I've got bald eagle pictures on there,
dude was
all
not the
ages.
first person that I have had conversations with who were like, there aren't bald eagles around here. And it's like, dude,
I
there's
know.
the bald
Dude,
eagles
this
was
is
endangered like when we were children.
obviously
Like,
this is not Anchorage or
sure,
Homer, but this is a major thoroughfare for
right.
migration for bald eagles because of
And
the
they
Missouri
nest
River.
here. Right. And they don't have to be that close to the river. I mean, down at camp, they're not that close to the river, and there's a bald eagle
No,
nest on the camp.
they don't. I'm not saying that like the river dictates
I see
where
what
all
you're
the
saying.
bald eagles
Yeah.
are. I'm just saying that because of the river, we have even more.
Yeah. We have a higher concentration than most places.
But there's a lake just down the road from my house where, what, Jimmy, you were working over there, and that lady said they see how many eagles over there.
Oh yeah.
They've got at least a nesting pair,
Yep.
maybe a couple nesting pairs.
Wasn't it
Just right down the
Smithville
street
Lake
from
where
me.
you can go and there'll be 50 of them at the right time of year
Yeah,
hunting
the
Canadian
beginning
geese?
of the year,
Yeah.
December 1st. hmm Smithville Lake, there'll be like 30 to 50 of them. If you go a little further north, go up to Squaw Creek,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be 200 of them,
You know that
maybe 600 of them.
635 headed south, right before the Missouri River. There's that that weird lake thing.
Yes.
And then there's this row of trees between the highway and the lake. One day I was driving there, and I bet there were 30 bald eagles in those trees, just perched up in the trees.
No. No, there aren't. Bald
We don't
eagles are
have bald eagles
endangered,
around here.
Jimmy. There aren't any bald eagles around here.
They're rare. They're so rare.
Rare, if I mean, outside of their normal pattern, maybe
Right.
one. But I mean, like, you'd get an award if you saw one, if you were a bird watcher. Like, you'd get honored.
Maybe
at
when
the
we were
Bird Watcher
kids, like
Society.
I don't remember seeing them very often around here when I was a kid. It was a pretty cool, like, whoa, there's an eagle. And you maybe went years before you saw another one.
I still find it really cool to see one.
Well, yeah.
So I saw them a lot when I was a kid because
around here?
Because whenever when I was from the ages of like probably 9 to 12, those 3 years, we lived in South Kansas City and we drove up to Rulo, Nebraska every Sunday. And a decent chunk of our trip was kind of driving along the Missouri River. And we saw bald eagles all the time. Like if you're along the Missouri River at all, you're going to see them.
Yeah.
And so even when I was a kid, we saw them quite often. And then, so back then, we would drive out there to Squaw Creek also
Yeah.
during the winter time and see the hundreds of thousands of geese and hundreds of eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't really remember a time when I thought that seeing a bald eagle was like the most special thing, like that, like no one got to do that because it was semi common for us.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't recall it being common when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I probably didn't get out as much as you did either.
Yeah, that trip was a big deal. Like, if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have seen it. But
All right, hey,
because we drove all the time.
I got one more question for you guys. That
Okay.
is kind of I'm commissioning you to poke around about something.
All right.
The other week, did I already bring this up? Maybe just stop me if I already did.
It's
The other
hard to
week,
know since we don't know what you're talking about yet.
yeah, but I'm preemptively telling you, just tell me to stop
Oh, okay.
talking. Right. We went up to Junior's.
Yeah, you went up to
Brian,
his like.
Ben, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're driving up to Cameron on, what is that, 35?
Mhm.
And my uncle, who is 60, he's probably 67 years old now. 60, is that right?
Okay.
60. Yeah, he's probably 60, 65 to 67 years old. Okay.
Okay.
He points as we're coming back from Cameron.
Did you have the
And
camper with you, or did you?
No.
No.
Did that ever make its way back to Darcy's house for a chance?
No, not yet.
No. Lou told me he was going to push it off in the woods pretty quick.
Okay. Well, yeah. I was thinking
the grass starts growing. He's pushing it off into the woods.
He's pushing off in the woods. Well, why don't we just push it in the barn? That'd be the better spot for it. Okay. Okay, so here's the deal. He says to me, we're driving back from Cameron. We're probably in the vicinity of halfway between Cameron and Kearney or Liberty, something like that. Looks off to the west.
Okay.
There's an area, I can picture it, where there's a house or two kind of back off of the highway, and it looks like you'd have to go on some road around, not a side road, to get to the house. And it's in a fairly low-lying creek-like swampy type of area around it. It's treed, and like right after it and right before it there's fields, right? But it's a wooded kind of an area. I don't know if you can picture it in there.
I think I can. Mm-hmm.
It's a fairly unique topography, and it looks like there's several creeks and stuff, and maybe there was like a pond or lake or something in there at some point. My uncle says that used to be Monkey Island. And we're like, what do you mean by that? He goes, when we were kids, we would drive by here because they lived up in Maryville, Iowa, and their relatives lived in Kansas City. Whenever I was in junior high and high school, we would drive by here, and there was about 10 monkeys out in that on what used to be a little island right there.
What?
And we were like, was there like a sanctuary or something? He goes, no, I think that they had them and they fed them out on this little island, and they just stayed there. Like they happily stayed there. And Ben and I was like, there was no fences, there was no cages. I mean, like, what would a fence do for a monkey anyway, really? Like,
no, but if it was an actual island, I don't think they swim hardly ever.
He said it was an island, and they had trees and stuff, and when you drove by this place, you could look and you could see them in the trees and on the ground in this island thing. And I'm like, I want to know if somebody else has been around that long. So we're talking like somebody else would have to have been driving that road 45, 55. We're talking like 55 plus years ago to be able to verify that.
Man, I wish I would have known this a few months, well, a year ago, because my old neighbor grew up in Cameron, lived in Cameron his entire life, and worked in Kansas City, drove that stretch of road for 80 years. But he died about 6 months ago.
Dude, my neighbor, I haven't seen him for a while. I think he's not dead. He's old though. But with the nice weather, he should be back in his yard. He likes working out in the yard. And he's from Kansas City, but his family had a farm up in the Cameron area. If I see him, I'm gonna ask him.
I want to know about this, because if there really were, that's kind of a cool thing that's being lost to history. So there you go. Find out if you can find somebody who would potentially know about something like that, or at least
I'm gonna do some research.
I don't think my uncle knew the people. He just said that you could see them
right
sometimes when you drove by.
And
there didn't look like there was any fence or anything. So
okay,
that's interesting. Anyway, there you go.
I like it.
All right.
That's the assignment.
That's the assignment.
Okay.
Well,
we'll report next
one
week.
of the assignments, Jimmy. You know the other assignment.
I hear
you.
Oh.
All right.
This is already charged up, by the way. I threw it on the charger while we're talking, and it's done.
You did?
Yep.
Nice.
Dang.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the Not Your Average Guys show. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
All right.
Nice.
Stay here until the recording is done.
Jimmy successfully uploaded. Darcy successfully uploaded. Dan, 0%. But just a second ago, it said 98.
You think this will whiten my teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it?
Sure.
Probably.
Well, give me